It's the Awake Space Astrology Podcast. I'm Laurie Rivers with you, here to help you with some inspiration to get those aspirations out into the world. Oh my gosh, guys, April has already kicked off into something spectacular, and I'm recording this podcast a little early in the week because I'm flying out to Bahrain on Sunday. So you're listening to this, I'm already in Bahrain. I'm time traveling. It's been a remarkable time back in England. I look forward to being back. Oh, I would stay, but I've got to get home. Malcolm misses me, and I miss Malcolm. But gosh, I will be looking at doing more international travel. I've missed it so much. My 9th house Sun and Mercury and Sagittarius Mars in the first house has been fully energized. What do you think about the new dude? Did you guys see that on TikTok? I think it's pretty snazzy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know that I ever would have put so many highlights in my hair. If I was the one picking, I think I would have been a little more conservative, but I'm loving them. So Libra moon satisfied. All right. I'm kind of avoiding what I need to do next. I don't know if you guys have read the magazine yet. The Awake Space Astrology magazine came out to patrons on April 2nd, late on April 2nd, but I got it out on the day I said I would. Of course, I had to put a write in immediately. If you found it in the shop, because the magazine goes out to patrons at the $15 level and above, but I did decide to put it in the shop. It's $22. Well, that's my price. If you buy it through the phone app, you're paying the Apple store fee on top of that. So I think it's something like $31. Let me go check and see what that looks like. I know. Let's go look in the shop because my price is different than the shop price, I believe. It's $19.99 if you buy it in the shop. And I think it's something like 20-something with the fee from Apple. If you are a patron, you also, and that's all levels $5 and above, you get the 2-hour video of the 2024 year ahead month-by-month predictions. I've put that out in April, like I said I would in the last podcast. So if you're not a patron and you still want to catch that video because it's a very specific, I do one event in June that is now up and listed on the website under events. I do one in June and I do another in December. This is the video from December. Okay. If you sign up for the June event, you get to come to the event I do in November or December. I haven't picked the dates. It might be December this year again, just because I'll be recovering from the Pluto-Mars opposition in October. That'll be fun. But anyway, so the April issue of the magazine is out. And if you've already read it, then you know we are in for it this month. There is so much going on. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned that Taiwan had that 7.4 so early in the month. I did have increased seismic activity in the forecast. I did for the second. Let me see what I had. Yeah, I did. I think I had seismic activity 0.5 and above. Yeah, increased seismic activity up to 6.5 offshore. So I missed it being a 7.4. That's making me nervous, guys, because all of the hallmark seismic activity transits, like that are very, very clearly an increase in seismic activity, are coming up next week. And, or maybe not next week, the week after. But it's a very seismic time because Jupiter is approaching Uranus in Taurus. And we haven't seen this conjunction for 83 years. Okay. So the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happens every 14 years. But this one is in Taurus, so that leads to geologic activity, monetary policy issues, and what have you. I wrote an article about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. and what I think you can expect on the mundane level. I want you to remember, though, just because I'm talking about mundane events does not, A, mean they will happen to you or happen in your vicinity. But if you live in an area that is likely to be impacted by that, you need to have be a little extra vigilant, be a little more prepared. As prepared as you can be. There are things you can't prepare for in life. We're not going to be perfect, okay? But you can be aware and listen to your intuition. Okay, that is a gift we have. These are abilities we have, all of us. Most people haven't developed theirs, and most people have been taught not to pay attention to them. So there's that. Let's see, what else? And again, I'm nervous, folks. I'm really nervous about the mundane stuff. Now, on a personal level, we have some very creative energy. If you can hold your focus, and I've been talking about this, right? If you can hold your focus, especially through eclipse week, then you're going to be fine. Just like I said in the last episode, selfishness is very different than being centered in yourself. Okay, you don't want to be half in, half out of the body. You want to be as embodied as you can be. I hear you. You've been traumatized. I get that. I lived a life of trauma the first 30 years of my life. Okay, first 30 years sucked. It was one damn thing after another. I could hold my focus, and I was an overachiever. I managed to power through a lot of things, and it finally got to a point where there was nothing I could do. Hello, Pluto transits. And I had to work on the healing path. Okay. Part of your healing is not picking at the wounds. Stop it. Stop going over why you're screwed up. I'm screwed up because of this. Mom and dad did this. Dad didn't do this. Mom didn't do this. Yes, they did. I never got any help. Nobody likes me. Blah, blah, blah. I'm worthless. I'm a piece of shit. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'll never get ahead. My life always sucks. The world sucks. Society is out to get me. Blah, blah, blah. Some of that may be true. It's not about it being true or false. How the hell can you get anywhere when that's your focus? Just think about it logically for a heartbeat. And I'm being serious about this because if you think 2020 was a shit show, and I'm one of the few people who is not going to blame the goddamn pandemic on people struggling now. Okay. The world was screwed up long before we had a lockdown, and most people were either too busy or too self-absorbed to notice, okay? Too worried about getting ahead in their career, too identified with what they did instead of who they were. And this eclipse is about to kick all of that to the curb. I'm not saying everybody's jobs are going away. I'm not saying the economy is going to completely collapse. I don't see a sudden change in that way. But I do see a big shift. And this could be political. We could see global conflict escalating. I honestly think it's going to be more economic than I do physical attacks. But given what's going on with Israel, funded by the United States in the Middle East, I don't care what bad guy they decided to take out. They hit an embassy of a sovereign nation. As a political analyst, take the astrology out for 2 seconds. I am a political analyst trained in international relations. You hit an embassy. That is a declaration of war. Israel is hell-bent on expanding it. They're doing it to Lebanon. They're claiming self-defense, but I'm going to argue that is a horrendous definition of self-defense. It puts Israel's national security at a major risk. Okay. It puts the United States' national security at risk as well. While they're busy worried about TikTok, our funding of genocide and our funding of an expansion of conflict in a region is putting our own citizens' safety at risk, both at home and abroad. Okay. Luckily, 90% of the world realizes our citizens have no more power over making decisions than, anybody else's country's people. Okay. You can't equivocate people with their governments. You just can't. Okay. Even a democracy where and I'm using air quotes, where we get to vote for representatives. Because a lot of times those choices really are made for us. Otherwise we would have had a Bernie, right? So I'm just saying, be really, really ready for things to get hot after April 8th. Okay. On a personal level, if you can stay focused and grounded as much as possible and aligned into who you really are, and it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I wrote about this in the magazine. It's not about holding your focus 100% of the time. It's about holding your focus and then redirecting it if you lose it. So don't tell me you're ADHD or ADD and you can't hold your focus. It's not about holding it firm 100% of the time. It's about recorrecting and recalibrating your focus 1,000 times a day if necessary. Okay. I'm really going to be serious about this. You guys know I don't like to scare you, but if there was ever a time for self-mastery and working on self-mastery, which by the way, self-mastery is a lifelong practice. It is not something that is a one and done. You get a degree and you get your piece of paper. It's something you do over and over and over and over. There isn't a human being on this planet that doesn't lose their focus and become reactive, become prone to resistance patterns. Everybody does it. The Dalai Lama does it. The Pope does it. Religious masters do this in all levels. They just have more practice at correcting their focus again. Okay. They still have shitty days. They still have days they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, maybe less than other people. And successful people in all realms of life do not hold a negative focus. Not for long. Again, they might have a shitty day, but they'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go to bed and tomorrow's a fresh day. Tomorrow's a fresh start. I always have a fresh start the next day. Okay. And if you get really well practiced at it, you can be in the middle of a shitty day and go, you know what? I don't like feeling this way. I want something good to happen. I'm going to turn my attitude around so I can notice the good stuff, because the power is in the noticing. The perfection's in the correction. It's not about being perfect 100% of the time. I want you to remember that. That's what the mystery school curriculum teaches. If you do the work and if you show up to meetings, okay? If you don't do the work and you don't show up to meetings, you're not going to get the benefit out of it. It's that simple. You've got to show up. If the meeting times don't work for you, guess what? You can go into the Discord and say, hey, I would like to do a meeting on this date. Who's available? You got to participate. Life is a participation sport. We're not doing nanny work in there. We're not constantly reminding people. You either take advantage of it or you don't. Period. I'm not serious because I can't prep you guys anymore. I want you to be really understanding of that. I gave so much of my time in 2021, 2022, and 2023 getting you guys ready, especially 2021 and 2022. In fact, that's one of the reasons I got out of shape. I was breakneck speed reading, and I had cut my prices to get as many people into me as possible to get you people ready for what was up on deck, getting you ready by helping you align into your best version of self. I wore myself out and made myself sick even. Okay, by working too much and not doing what I tell you, which is to do self-care. But I knew I only had to do it for a little while, and I'd turn my ship around. And I've spent the last year and some change turning my ship around so that I'm not depleting myself in service to you. Okay, because I can't afford that. I want to be teaching more people. I want to be offering more workshops. Yes, I'll still do the one-on-ones, but I can't. Matilda and I've talked about it on the Sassy Seers. There's a lot of energy that goes into readings, and there's only one of me. And that's why I want to do more group work, which, by the way, before I get into the current events, let me tell you what classes are coming up. And patrons, your discounts will come out before I head to Bahrain, I promise. So you'll already have them. I forget, I'm recording this like way ahead. So you'll have your discounts. Go check the Patreon for that, for the $5 and up. April Well, we already had the Solar Eclipse seminar on April 6th. Because I'm speaking to the future. I'm in the past speaking to the future. So weird. Anyway, April 28th, I'm doing one more round of the beta of the Healing the Money Wound using astrology. It's the final beta session. So your special pricing and the ability to beta test this with me and, be in that beautiful test group. We've got to think of it yourself as a focus group. You're helping me create the next steps with this program. The results are absolutely phenomenal as people begin to understand not only where their money wound came from, but their healing path. Because that's the thing. This is about a healing journey and not staying stuck. So you get access to the private group and you get to continue on in future sessions. This will be the final beta session as far as how I've been teaching it this time. And then you guys will get to beta test some of what will be I think we'll do the coaching program, because one of the things I've noticed is people are still kind of leaning into the wound more than looking at the healing. And so I think we need to kind of focus more on that. So I think that's where we're going to go next, is with the coaching program. I will also have a digital course, like an online program that you can do step by step. If it's out of reach financially to do the live action stuff with me, completely understandable. I've been there myself. You're not going to be there forever, I promise. April 27th through May 11th, I've got a 6-hour beginning astrology course. This is not the Natal Chart Foundations class. This is for people who really don't understand astrology, but are fascinated by it and really kind of want to understand it to put them into a beginner astrologer space. Okay. So, the Natal Chart Foundations is for people who have a fair understanding of their astrology chart and want to move into the intermediate level. That preps them for intermediate. This preps you to see if astrology is something you really want to study. And so it's 3 weeks, 6 hours, and I get you ready with your foundations. It comes with the class recordings, a private group, as well as learning materials. And I think that'll help get you going. And then the last time I'm teaching intermediate astrology in 2024, it starts May 5th. Okay. And for those of you who've studied intermediate astrology with me, and you want to go to the next level, then join Cosmic Surfers tier in the Patreon, because we're going to start meeting this month, end of April. And this is where, we'll have those more Socratic. We, expand our understanding of the astrology, talk about charts. And then when I do like special workshops, you guys will either get it comped if it's like a little mini workshop, or you'll get very special pricing because, you're coming in at the Cosmic Surfer level. So that's coming up. That's exciting. All right. Alrighty. By the way, if you wanted to know more about the Healing the Money Wound, I put a little excerpt from the book into the magazine this month, which, how crazy is that cover? I did the cover. I used AI. Took me a while to get exactly what I wanted, but All right. So this is Eclipse Week, my friends. This is Eclipse Week. And I'm going to tell you what to expect in the headlines. Let's see. We've got... this comes out on the day of the eclipse. Alrighty. I gotta pop back one more. All right. There we go. Looking at my slides. All right. The moon is in Aries, April 7th through the 9th. All right. Things we can expect, especially on Eclipse Day. I think we're going to see a really, really big natural event. I think if you think that earthquake in Taiwan was it for the month, I don't think it is. I think we're going to see some huge storms. I think we're going to see issues in Southeast Asia, South China Sea. Could see conflict escalate between China and the Philippines, but that could also be seismic activity. War and natural events look the same in mundane astrology. It's kind of hard to decipher which is going to be which. Man, remember I wrote these back in March. So action taken against the United States by international organizations or court. I think we may actually see after the 8th, the international community kind of give us a talking to for funding Israel and their weapons. I think it could be South Africa coming for us. I think we're going to see a huge accident. It could be aircraft. It could be a missile taking down an aircraft. There's something big, some big accident. Now, this could be in the roadways or something like the Autobahn or a freeway. This, again, the transits are global. Massive infrastructure damage, collapsed buildings, docks, roads, etc. Explosions, bombings, and acts of terrorism. Now, this could be in America. And it could be a big one. Or they could claim that there was one and they stopped it. Could be in New York. So if you're in New York, keep your eye out. Public fights and mass violence. And I think anywhere that eclipse is visible in the United States, just be really ready for people to go off the rails and be stupid crazy. This could be road rage. It could be, fist fights gone wrong. We could see potential volcanic eruptions. Definitely going to see seismic activity over a 6.0. Any active area. I don't think it's going to be the Pacific Northwest just yet. I think that's more likely in the fall, but, I could be wrong. Earthquakes are very, very difficult to predict. Food crisis causes conflict between nations or public market spaces. I've had that in the headlines for a long time. I really think that has a lot to do with Gaza, but I also think places like South Africa where there's a massive drought, Madagascar that's been flooded. I think Mauritius and Reunion Islands have also been impacted. Places like Haiti. We could definitely see more public violence in city center, mall, or other public venue, a shooting or a stabbing. Attempted coups, insurrections, and political violence. This is global. World leader assassinated or deposed, and this could be a politician as well, not just a world leader. We could see more assassinations in countries that are having elections. Remember, there are 30 elections happening in 2024 worldwide. Potential terrorist attack or threat in Western Europe or North America. I think I already mentioned that just off the top of my head, but there it is in writing, or one is claimed to be prevented. War expands in regions with conflicts. Keep an eye on Eastern Europe, Middle East, China, Taiwan, North, South Korea. So keep your eye on that. That's the 7th through the 9th. Post-solar eclipse, which, by the way, patrons got a chance to have a thumbnail sketch of what to expect with the eclipse. We've got a 2-hour seminar happening on Saturday the 6th. That'll thrill you to pieces. We've got April 9th through the 11th. We have the moon in Taurus. From the minute that moon ingresses into Taurus, it's squared with Pluto. Okay. I think we're going to see the markets rise. The dollar might gain value. Trade agreements are either going to end or be broken. We could hear about sanctions, issues with food supply and or processing plants. We could see a recall on food products, grain, vegetables, soy-based meat, name it. Global financial crisis, supply chain disruption. If it's going to start probably in this time period, but I think it'll kick over with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. This could be the supply of raw goods and materials, and this could be because of stuff happening in the Red Sea. We can see explosions and demolitions go wrong. I think the Middle East conflicts very much can expand during this time. Let's see. Huge weather issues. And I have that in capital letters. Lightning, hail, tornadoes, sandstorms, or torrential rain and flooding. Depends on where in the world you are. Issues with mining and mines. Commercial real estate loan default, and that would be a sizable one. Potential large earthquake 6.5 offshore likely. I'm not giving regions right now because I haven't had, I'm traveling. I haven't had time to just completely focus in on the charts. Intuition is telling me I think New Zealand needs to watch out. Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Chile, Peru, but even the mid-Atlantic, but also Caribbean. Mexico is coming up for me. Mexico, probably the west coast of Mexico, maybe Guatemala as well, Ecuador, Peru, all those areas. Issues with cattle, dairy farms, meat and packing plants. Could see chemical spills, communications failures, breaks in cell service, large network outages, cybersecurity breaches, data breaches, DNS server attacks, malware, and ransomware. Issues with that. These are all things we'll see in the headlines. Trump gets more bad news. Schadenfreude alert. Big erosion events. Potential volcanic activity on the increase. I think that would also potentially be underwater. Satellite failures, crashes, issues with spacecraft and or space station. Honestly, if aliens show up, I wouldn't be surprised with this astrology. Just saying, mutters under her breath. And then we have April 11th through the 13th. The moon is in Gemini. I think we could see exceptionally damaging wind. This is global. We could see issues with ocean currents as well. Mud flows, strange tides, issues with water supply, mass casualty event, or shocking violence that could be like a stabbing, blunt force trauma, something really like, ew, you know. Communications failures, satellite failures, signals jammed, radio frequencies interrupted, issues with power plants, potential radiation leaks and chemical spills, government computer systems down or hacked, solar flare disrupts communication, most likely radio waves and some internet, potential seismic activity above a 6.0 in any active region offshore. I do have locations for this. Asia Pacific region, most likely New Zealand, off the coast of Chile, Peru, Alaska, and Indonesia. Data leak, sensitive material made public. I think we also might hear something about it. Julian Assange. Broken agreements, tensions escalate in border disputes, terrorist attacks, bombings, political violence. This is global. Underwater discovery, potential nuclear accident at sea. Big ship sinks or has emergency at sea. This could be a naval vessel or an oil tanker or a cruise ship. Public anti-war protests increase. This is global. Could see air traffic issues, helicopter accident, or other kinds of crashes, planes, trains, car pileups. Potential school shooting. And remember, the transits are global. What else do I have? That would be Saturday. So ending with Sunday the 14th. The moon is in Cancer. High-profile domestic violence or extreme violence would be 13th and 14th, up to the 15th. Fascists under pressure. This is global. This would be any kind of authoritarian regime. Massive rain or snowfall could be a blizzard or a thaw causing flooding. Dam breaches, rivers overflow, banks. Tidal activity is unusual. Might be because of the tsunami. Coups, leader deposed or a leader falls ill, water quality issues, environmental issues, climate change, National Guard or equivalent, put into action could be Army Corps of Engineer or the equivalent. Politicians investigated, indicted, or censored. Donald Trump gets restrictions in some way, issues with national security, espionage, leaks of information, issues with quote-unquote homeland security, family or child welfare in the news, major flooding, erosion events, issues with schools or nurseries, British royal family news. Now, this could be to do with King Charles. I've got it in for, but I have King Charles specifically for the moon in Leo, and I'm not going to lie. When the moon hits Leo 15th through the 17th, that's some big bada boom energy. So I think we're going to be feeling kind of weird. Let's see. Restaurants close, issues with food supply and food processing plants. Again, food supply is in major trouble right now. So I told you, grow as much food as you can. I'm not warning you that much anymore, or prepping you, I should say. If you're in the Discord, I've got new communications threads where people can better organize, because we have this thing called a forum post in there where we can do organized conversations. Get sharing your recipes, your garden ideas, your planting experiences. Get in there and do that. You guys have to help each other. I've prepped you as much as I can. We are now in the go time where you have to be taking action. I think the money market's going to be exceptionally volatile, and we're going to see some currency devaluations worldwide. I think BRICS is going to take some action as well. I don't think BRICS is going to last long term, but I do think that it will do what it is designed to do, which is to destabilize the dollar and the U.S. economy. I think people are trying to avoid a nuclear war, but put America to curb our, global domination type stuff. So that's what we can expect in the headlines this week. I know it's a lot. You can, again, find the magazine, the Awake Space Astrology magazine, in the Patreon shop if you're not a patron. If you want it for free, get it and become a member, $15 and up. Otherwise, it's $19.99 in the shop. But this is what I wrote about the energy of April. And remember, I had to put erotic because the first version, I made a mistake and I had to fix it. So when you buy the magazine, there's 2 versions. And that's because on page 5, I had to edit it. All right, April 2024 brings us to a long-awaited turning point. We begin the month with Mercury making its station for retrograde in Aries, April 1st. It begins its retrograde motion on the 2nd, and it might feel like the brakes are getting a little hot. For the first part of the year, we have hurtled at breakneck speed with all planets direct, and it's been a little much to take in with sensory overload, causing everyone to feel overwhelmed and a little burned out. Not to mention coming out of a powerful Libra full moon, partial lunar eclipse, where we've been facing that which needs to come into balance. If only we knew what that balance was. The eclipse is happening in the Sagittarius decan of Aries, so we can expect a lot of soul searching and questing for identity in April. From an esoteric perspective, we're all being asked to get real, to know what is in alignment for us, to stop looking to the outer world for description and definition, to stop seeking approval and stop attempting to prove our value, and to just show the F up. It's time to it's time to be unadulteratedly ourselves in our actual power. This is not the time to explain how we got here, meaning the origin story is pointless. It's not about blame. It's not about forgiveness. It's not about being good or saintly. It's about being real and reclaiming our innocence alongside of our power. How do you stand in your power? Stop asking for rescue. Stop begging for a break. In the words of my Aries grandmother, you don't get equality by asking for it. You show up demanding it. And demand is what we must. There is no faking it until you make it with this energy. It is be it until you become it. Stop telling the story of how scary it is or the story of your insecurities. That will leave you vulnerable to those who would take advantage of you. Our foundations will be rattled with Mars conjunct Saturn, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. We will see order disassembled further to the old systems, and as the old systems unravel, power brokers find their currencies of fear and dominance. They are made impotent. And the hubris of kicking the problems facing society down the road for decades is met with consequences that leave leaders shaken and stirred. All of this and the weather will have us needing to stand firm in our own power, owning our divine, divine connection. Remember, my typos are free. Blind as a bat. I wish I could see better. But yeah. So that's kind of it. This month is a massive month for growth. Okay. In fact, on page 6, it's thoughts for the month, explosive growth. And if we were galvanized in March and April, we're operating from a whole new operating system, basically. If you can imagine our operating systems getting updates on the weekly, that's what's in store for each of us as we move through this pivotal month, period. And you're like, I don't know how. Well, stop doing what you've always done. You've got to take action in new ways. You've got to take action in new ways. It's really, really important. You have to stop looking at the trauma story and start looking at what takes you forward in this lifetime. It's so, so important. Okay. So, so important. And I'm not saying that to diminish your experience. I'm not saying that to trigger you. I'm not saying that to be a big blue meanie, but it is time to show that F up for yourself. You've got to stop waiting for other people to acknowledge you. You've got to stop expecting cheerleaders out there. You have to stop caring what other people say. If they don't like what you're doing, okay, especially if you're on social media, block them. And if they want to, there will always be people who don't like what you have to say. There are people who don't like what I have to say. That's fine. That's fine. It's okay. It's okay. But I will tell you, if I let that stop me, I'd never be speaking to you. I wouldn't have the number 12 astrology podcast in FeedSpot's top 60 list. FeedSpot is an aggregate. Okay. So it's like, you don't buy your way into the rankings. Like I don't even pay for a subscription to FeedSpot. It's on pure numbers. It's just pure numbers. And so they have a top 60 list for astrology. And last I checked, we were number 12. Who knows? We might have gone up one. So that's exciting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us in the top 20 astrology podcasts globally. That's exciting. Thank you, patrons. We're almost to a major milestone of patrons. Almost to a major milestone for patrons. My goal is to reach 1,000 patrons by May, end of May. And I think it's completely doable. And I'm going to have some kind of really super fun goodie, like I'll make some special content for that. I think it's going to be super cool. Things to plan for the 2025 year ahead is up. And I already have given patrons a discount on that. I have. Go check the posts, but I've got a 50% off for the June event. It'll be, I believe, on June 22nd of 2024. I'll do the year ahead. That's exciting. We're going to do more with the magazine. Expect it to just keep getting better. We're going to have an editorial meeting soon, me and the astrologers. I think I'm going to do some patron shout outs, and then I'll read a little bit about what my predictions for the solar eclipse and how you can use that a little bit. We've already had the event on Saturday, April 6th. So let me, patrons, newest patrons. I usually, let's see, there they are. They usually do it a little differently. All right, guys. Here's our newest patrons. Let's see. Okay. All right. Here's our newest one. We have Pam, Meg, Courtney, Chris, Morgan, Karen, KG, Elizabeth, Ricky, Claire, Alexis, Jenny, Maya, Debbie, Christina, Jenny, Larissa, Dee, Laura, Carrick, Rudut, okay. We're going to go with the first name you wrote there. Rudut. Nico, Alexa, S, Mochi, Negrura, Christy, Robin, Caitlin, Jade, Lisa, Katie, Diana, Tressie, Laurie, Deb, Juan, Matt, Sam, Karen, Jamie, Schlip, Island Girl, Stacy, Rebecca, Catherine, Vicky, Jordan, Kenneth, Sophie, Anne. Oh, we got a little bit more. Here we go. Hold tight. Jamie, Kayla, Megan, Katie, Shelby, Carrie, Monica, Tina, Lisa, Matilda, Cynthia, Fawn, Jennifer, Dawn, Mackenzie, Cynthia, Mandy, Caitlin, Melissa, and Lauren. Thank you all for being members. Thank you so much. We've got so many cool things. You can message me directly through Patreon. If you're a paying patron, you have access to our amazing Discord. Let's see. Patrons at the $15 level and up get the magazine and so many other juicy things. It's pretty good. I'm going to close the Planet of the Month Club, by the way. So if you've been thinking about it, join in. But I'm going to close that, and doesn't mean so if you're in it, you get to stay in it. It's just not going to be open to new people. So I'm going to do something else. I might revive Living by Luna. I haven't decided, but I'm like, I think we're going to continue through the year with it. We're going to go house by house, but I think I'm going to start something else. I think that's going to be fun. We'll see. See what I do. There's so much material in the Awake Space. You gotta search through the posts. There's so many videos, and you get the ebooks that I've got up in the shop. So much good stuff, guys. But hopefully we'll reach 1,000 members by the end of May, and then I'll do something super fun. That'll be a major milestone. I'm ready for that. That'll be cool. I want to thank everybody, because without you, there is no podcast. All right, let me read something about the solar eclipse, and you'll be able to use this energy over the next 6 months. So, all right, this is what I wrote in the magazine. It's on page 7. Well, here it is, the great total solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024. Everyone and their mother has been working to freak you out over this event. I'm not going to lie, there are some significant events that will occur, especially in the locations where the solar eclipse reached totality. Okay. Since the eclipse is in Aries, you can probably expect fire. Everything from lightning cause fire to arsons. You probably will see a fair bit of street violence or people going off their rockers in public. Could see a massive brawl, a fist fight gone wrong, or even have a mass shooting within the first week of the eclipse. We will see once solid alliances fail on the global stage within days, if not hours, of the solar eclipse. The U.S. may cut ties with governments it's often funded and upheld. Things get spicy with the solar eclipse, but remember, it's only an eclipse where it's visible. If it's not visible in your area, treat it like a new moon on steroids. The British Commonwealth may see member states bowing out of agreements or alliances, and the EU may face a crisis over interest rates or banking regulations. We could see NATO under pressure and being forced to take action. Not war per se, but the beginning preparations if there's more instability brewing in the Balkan states. This eclipse kicks Donald Trump right in his investments and properties. Patrons, be sure to go back and watch the pinned videos from May 2023 in the Awake Space Patreon to be reminded of my predictions around this event. Trump's assets are under threat, and even if he seems to have a judge in his pocket, he may lose this little bit of luck in April. Putin is under stress as his plans go sideways after the eclipse. He could see rebellion in the ranks or in territories between now and September. The eclipse could be a good thing for Julian Assange. He might be able to return to Australia by August. Central and North America there may be some heated political exchanges, and the Canadian-U.S. border may see a conflict of some kind through either a high-speed chase or some kind of drug bust the U.S.-Mexico border heats up, especially the Texas border, and one would do well to remember the Alamo. If there are citizen vigilantes, they may FAFO. We will see celebrities of all kinds fall from grace as we watch celebrity culture crumble. But be wary of getting distracted. This can be used to your advantage. If you stay laser focused, okay, you need to stay laser focused, guys. The more you focus on what other people are doing or have done versus what you're doing for yourself, the more you're wasting valuable energy. So don't get caught up in celebrity gossip. Who gives a fuck what Lizzo did or didn't do, or this person, the whole, oh, they're trafficking people. So's your neighbor. So's your neighbor. Pay close attention to home. Don't let yourself get distracted. I'm not saying we approve of bad behavior. I'm just saying, where are you putting your energy? Because where your attention goes, energy flows. And if you're wondering why you're not getting any traction in life, it could be because you're busy spending your energy on other stuff that doesn't matter. So put your energy where it matters. To take advantage of the new moon's energy, you would do well to hyper focus on your own well-being. Don't complain about who is or who isn't doing whatever to you. Don't focus on what other people have or haven't done for you. Focus on what you are doing and who you can become, and you will rocket launch forward. Okay, so that's what's up on deck. You can find the rest of what's going on, including my little article about eclipses and comets, the purpose in astrology. Let's see, what else did I write about? The Uranus-Jupiter conjunction of 2024. We've got your astrology vocabulary. Got a little excerpt from the ebook that I wrote that is your ultimate cheat sheet. It's in the patron shop. You can download it for free. It is the ultimate astrology cheat sheet. Use it as a reference. We go through the planet signs and houses, and I included my favorite thing I ever wrote astrologically, which is the stories of the houses, which is how your consciousness evolves, how human consciousness evolves. And we see that in the story of the houses, plus the squiggles and lines, and I talk about the aspects in that ebook. It's 47 pages. It's well worth it. All right. That alone is extremely valuable. Let's see. I got an article on human consciousness and astrology. So Consciousness Matters, Interpreting Astrology series. I'll be doing a little series in the magazine. Plus, of course, would you all come for the in the headlines, and of course our horoscopes with your astro planning guide. It is 108 pages this month. I tell you, don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard. I love that TikTok sound. I love it. I tell you. So let's see, what else do we have on deck this week? All right. I'm going to give you guys a lecture. There is some stuff online that drives me absolutely batshit. Okay. All right, little ones, cover your ears, because Auntie Laurie, Moon Lady, Astro Mama, going to use some grown-up words. When people go after a modality, okay, so like and I see this happening more this way. So as a progressive evolutionary astrologer, a modern astrologer who is traditionally trained, okay, and I have an exceptional lineage from my teachers, okay, exceptional lineage in astrology. I don't necessarily go after other people. I think as long as you're following the rules of delineation as per the modality of astrology that you're practicing, you can be accurate. That's my standard line. But when I hear so-called quote-unquote traditionalist astrologers who claim to be Hellenists, who don't understand what they're talking about, and they come after modern astrology, I get really angry and insulted. And here's why. there is no such thing as traditional Hellenistic astrology. There is a modern interpretation of techniques that have been uncovered through ancient scrolls and interpreted by scholars. Not one of those scholars, as far as I know, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, not one of those scholars have time traveled back to Ptolemy's time, to the time of Socrates, to the time of Plato, to the time of, even back to Sumeria. We have an approximation and an understanding of what those people were doing. To have people claim it's more accurate with no study of the history, no study of the mathematics involved, it can't be more accurate mathematically, my friends, because math itself was not more accurate. Math itself has been developed over time. Now, Project Hindsight, absolutely amazing academic project. Fascinating. It started when I was a new student to astrology. And it's an academically fascinating project. But for people to run with it and then say modern astrologers don't know what they're talking about, that's just talking out one side of your mouth and out the other. Okay? It's BS. And so I wrote a Patreon post because one of the reasons I was so excited to go to the event on Saturday at the Royal Albert Hall was because it was celebrating modern astrology, for heaven's sake. We have built on the shoulders of giants. And I'm annoyed because there's a particular creator right now who is constantly policing as if they are their very own metaphysical police force. And now they're claiming to have a great amount of information about astrology. And just from the little bit they have said, they show me they're at a beginner level. Okay, as an experienced astrologer with many decades in the game, as a teacher, as somebody who has a proven track record, which, by the way, I'm not using modern technique in my predictions. I'm using traditional, which actually is medieval, by the way. My mundane astrology is medieval, and it is built upon Hellenistic practices. Because again, just like I wrote in this article, and I'm going to read it to you, you can find it on Patreon. I believe it's a free post. And if you're a free member of Patreon, I'll try to get more articles up. Again, I'm traveling right now, so you only have so many hours in the day. So anywho, I wrote this on March 27th, A Case for Modern Astrology. In the mid-1990s, Project Hindsight was an exciting academic study into the origins of astrology. Scholarly astrologers dug deep through the ancient manuscripts, tablets, and scrolls, seeking a new way of understanding the history of this venerable study. And astrology is a field of study that requires a grasp of mathematics, physics, history, philosophy, and critical thinking. What happened, especially in the United States, was that people suddenly attached themselves to the idea that ancient meant pure and right, and modern meant wrong and inaccurate, even though, as with all fields of study, there is a lineage of understanding that is built over time. People became attached to the more simplified understanding of what is somewhat erroneously deemed Hellenistic astrology without asking important questions as to why they were choosing this branch to study. In the early 2000s, people also didn't check their phobia of all things Islamic or Arab and pushed away the modern techniques developed from the 10th century onwards. The study of ancient techniques and practices is academically important to understanding from where our body of knowledge originates. Understanding the progression of knowledge passed down through the ages is vital to getting a grasp on understanding how we humans think and believe and why we think and believe a certain way. However, to dive into anything without critical thought is dangerous. Ancient does not equate better or more pure. Modern does not equate less nuance and accuracy. For example, there are those who will say accurately that the Hellenists didn't emphasize aspects, the geometric relationship between planets. What most will not say or know is the reason for Hellenist astrologers, or is the reason that Hellenist astrologers did not focus on aspects with precision, is that the math did not yet exist. Until the 10th century, mathematicians did not use the number 0 in their calculations. Remember, astrologers were the scientists and mathematicians, as much as they were the priests and counselors. Without the work of Al-Biruni and others, our ability to cast exceptionally accurate charts and understand things with immense detail would not exist. You can learn more about Al-Biruni, and I put a link to an article about Al-Biruni. Modern astrology is not the same thing as popular astrology. In fact, historically, popular astrology has always been the bane of professional astrologers. There are arguments dating back to the 11th and 12th centuries by Islamic scholars over which kind of astrology is allowed and which is considered haram or evil. In the souks of old, there would be soothsayers promising love spells and fortunes based off of pseudo-astrological information, just like we see people doing fake astrology TikToks today. Metaphysics has always had to battle those who would take advantage of the desperate. Modern astrology incorporates an understanding of the world as we know it today. That includes investigating social cultural concepts, using modern mathematical equations, post-Renaissance is modern, and progressing interpretations to incorporate the fluid nature of human expression. To lean into the ancient without investigation of why things progress and build upon each other runs the risk of regressionist practices that muddy the water of a field of study that has developed alongside humanity. Historical reference and understanding is valuable. So too is the need to use tools and practices that reflect where we are today. It is important to critically assess any subject when you begin your studies, and be wary of those who will dogmatically declare with all of the confidence in the world that one modality is best to the exclusion of any other without offering a qualifying argument to verify their position. In short, don't believe everything you see online, ask questions, and do some homework. Some of my favorite modern astrologers are Dane Rujar, who is my astrological grandfather, Alan Leo, Joanne Wickenburg, who was someone I studied under, and she was a student of Dane Rujar, Robert Hand, he's Dumbledore, Robert Zoller, very fascinating work on medieval astrology and Renaissance astrology. I was fortunate to study with Joanne Wickenburg and Robert Hand and others, including Jeffrey Wolf Green, one of the founders of evolutionary astrology, alongside Stephen Forrest, both of whom were fascinated by the history and progression of astrology through the ages. You can study anything, but don't say one is accurate when you haven't investigated it. Okay? Remember, astrology isn't about resonance. It isn't about, I really resonate with this one and this doesn't resonate with me. That's not how astrology works. It's either accurate or it isn't. And you prove it out over time. Okay? You prove it out over time. So that's what I've got to say about that. And really question any creator who, one, is playing the police. I will call out if something is not done astrologically correct, or somebody's vilifying, but I don't even do that anymore. I used to do that a lot in like 2021, 2022. It was just kind of a waste of my energy. Now I just do the astrology. Okay. Speaking of astrology, I've been walking around Kensington, because that's where we're staying in London. And Kensington was a hotbed of the spiritualist movement in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And as I was trip-tropping along and taking my daily constitutional, I walked past Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's, sorry, I'm going to say it again, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes and other books, walked past his house, which is now like a psychic school or association. He was a huge proponent of spiritualism. Huge. And he did toy with, automatic writing and mediumship and things like that over time, but he was a huge cheerleader for spiritual pursuits. And I thought I'd do his astrology. So I don't know when I'm going to get that done, because again, I fly out on Sunday, and then I'm going to get to see people I haven't seen in a really, really long time. 26 years. 26 years since I've seen some of these people. Really looking forward to connecting to good friends and family. It's going to be a little emotional. So whether we folded our laundry together today, whether I went with you on a walk or to the gym, or we found perfect parking, got a coffee together. I've been going to a coffee shop called Paul's. It's a patisserie or boulangerie. So it's a good place to get food that's fattening. Even though I have been losing weight. I'm really excited about it, guys. Been losing weight. Not too fast, but I've just been walking. I really needed to move my body. And so I'm not going to go back to that really busy reading schedule, but I do think I'll do more group readings, like the, month ahead readings that I've done, where I can do I think 5 to 8 people. And then I'm going to do more seminars where I give you a little more of what, kind of how to use your charts, to your advantage, that kind of thing. Not because I don't love doing the one-on-ones. I'll keep doing the one-on-ones. Those are so important. But there's just one of me, and I only have so much time and so much energy, and I'm turning 55 this year. I know I keep saying it, but it's like, I don't know, it's like a big one. It's like a milestone. And there's a lot I want to do in my life. I want to travel more. This has got my travel bug back. I want to see more, do more. I want to do some live events. And I really think we need to start a conference for the Awake Space. I think we do. I think it would be super fun to start something. I love starting shit, right? Not just fights. I had a, what the hell? Oh, sorry. Somebody was driving me nuts. That was really weird. Let's see. I had a really good client testimonial, and I need to, let's see. I want to read you a little bit of it. I did have a really funny one last week where I had told somebody they were going to need a new fridge, and they were like, yeah, we were hoping to wait another 6 months. I'm like, you're not going to wait another 6 months. Within the next 3 weeks, you're going to have to get a new fridge. And yeah, they love the new fridge. They do. They love the new fridge. That was a great testimonial. I love to me, sometimes it's the little things that matter. So this is from a client who's been with me for a really long time. And I'll just call them Client IRD. Client IRD. You know who you are, you little Leo Venus person, you. Anyway, they've been coming to me for a long time. And I told them to be making money through speaking, whether they were going to be public speaking, and then clients would come out of it, what have you. And this has been over the last few years. So they were selected to sit on a panel for a women's summit, and they were one of the main speakers. And they had a line of people who wanted to talk to them. But let's see. I want to find something that isn't super personal. Let's see, but let's see. They're doing all the things I told them to do. In mid-March, they also connected to a mentor, which I told them they would do. Let's see what else. Ugh, I think this is going to be too personal to read. So, but they did send me pictures of their event. So I'm just going to read this. All right. Mid-March, I found out I was selected to sit on a panel for a women's summit, which took place on March 30th. You were at the celebration of astrology at the Royal Albert Hall, and I was on stage. I was selected to sit on a panel discussing intersectionality, breaking down barriers, and building community. I attached one of my favorite answers that my best friend recorded. Additionally, my mom and best friend attended to support me. Hence, the pictures of them are included as well. It was an unpaid event, but I know it's going to bring in clients. When it was time for networking, I had a line of people who wanted to talk to me and take pictures. It's all a bit surreal, but super exciting. In mid-March, I also connected with a mentor who loves everything I'm focusing on. Well, she's very connected and got me meetings with 2 incredible higher ed adjacent orgs. I'm meeting with each organization in the next 2 weeks. Let's see. And then the part, this made me cry, IRD. I don't think I would be here standing up for myself and demanding love if it wasn't for you. In my yearly reading, you said I would go through a lot of unlearning, unprogramming, and finding myself. It's true. I finally have the self-worth and self-love to say F you to anybody who isn't treating me the way I deserve to be treated. I'm not sure how this journey will go. I do know I am not shutting down anything I do or my business for anybody, nor am I shrinking myself for anyone. Wow, I'm so proud of you, and the pictures are gorgeous. I love that picture of you and your mama and your best friend, IRD. Thank you. I love hearing back from clients, and I will say, you're going to get results when you take action. A lot of times in my career life path readings, or for existing clients, we'll do like this particular client comes a couple times a year, and we go and we do strategy sessions, right? So I use their astrology and then we strategize to get them where they want to go. And this person does the work. They don't just sit there waiting for the timing. If you want to be successful in life, it isn't about fate landing things at your feet. It's about knowing when that window of time is good and then taking aligned action through it. Okay. That's what's up on deck, my friends, is we have to take aligned action, and that eclipse is going to burn a hole right through anything that isn't aligned with who we really are in our authentic nature. So it might feel uncomfortable, but the more you complain, the more you whine, the more you only see the dark side of things, the harder it is to move forward and see the change. I'm not telling you to be a Pollyanna. I'm not telling you to turn a blind eye. I am telling you that if you are holding yourself back to make other people comfortable, if you are playing it small, if you are waiting for somebody to take care of it for you, instead of getting up and just taking a step. I was working with a client yesterday, and they're building a new business, and they've got their program all worked out, and it's amazing. I love the sound of it. They were wondering, when should I quit my job? And I'm like, not till you're making, at least double what you make right now. You keep that job. Other people would have told that person, but that was bad timing to quit. They may want to quit, but you want to make sure you're secure, because they couldn't answer really, really important questions about what their clients would get because they haven't had clients yet. All right. But I told them, don't quit. Keep going. It's going to take you a year or 2 to get momentum. But if you quit before you see any kind of result because it's not moving fast enough for you, you're giving up on something really, really good. Don't give up on it because you're not perfect. Don't give up on your authentic dreams and goals and desires because you haven't got it in 20 seconds. I didn't start where I'm at today. When I get full classes now, in fact, if you want to get into them, you need to take action and hop in. Okay. I get full classes now. And the reason being is because I just kept teaching. 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago now, I would teach to an empty room, or have 2 students show up, not necessarily for astrology, but for other things like business classes. And, I was teaching online classes back in 2007, 2008. Nobody else was really doing it. I was a pioneer there. And voila, here I am with full rooms when I'm doing seminars and teaching classes. So it makes me a little emotional now, because instead of quitting, instead of giving up, I just kept going. I just kept trying. Doesn't mean I didn't, I cannot tell you how many times I threw myself on the couch crying and was frustrated and wanted to give up. Oh, I've been talking for 1 hour, 11 minutes and 33 seconds. Just saw that number. That's great. I wanted to give up a whole lot. There were times I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm crazy. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. No, I just hadn't learned how to say it in ways people wanted to hear. And there's a difference. So just keep going, guys. Not a great time to quit your jobs. If you've got a job, keep your job. Work on your side hustle. But don't ever just quit your 9 to 5 to follow your dreams and follow your passion unless you're independently wealthy. You're just going to put yourself under so much stress. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Especially not right now. It's too volatile. Rage apply, don't rage quit. All right? Okay, I hope I just saved you. Plus, Mercury's retrograde right now. So this is a great time to, go back and look through inboxes, take up other invitations and things like that. Alrighty. I think I've yapped at you long enough. I hope I have a good flight. Think good thoughts from me as we head towards the Middle East. We should be there till the 17th. Matilda thinks we won't be there very long. We're going to see. I feel like there's some really important stuff waiting for us there. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when we get there. I'm expecting some very fond reunions, and I look forward to seeing people. And I'll record the next podcast from Bahrain. Hopefully I'll make some great videos and you'll get to see some really cool stuff. Like I said, I haven't been there in almost 30 years, so it's going to be another great trip. And I want to thank all of you for your support over the years and making the Awake Space Astrology Podcast a top 20 astrology podcast. How exciting is that for the little engine that could? I don't know. I'm pretty proud of us. All right. You guys have a wonderful week. Don't freak yourself out. Bring yourself to center, okay? Take it one breath at a time this week.